So welcome everyone to the Raising Men show, and this is our great segment that I love. It's the Art of Living segment, and I have in studio now for everyone. I'm looking around like there's people here, but there's nobody here with us. We're at a different studio, actually on the campus of Centerpoint Church in their studio, and I have in studio as my special guest, Dr. Holly Kelly.
Thank you so very much.
Great to have you here. Now we've been talking on Facebook quite a bit about doing this, and for those of you who don't know, Dr. Kelly's got a great live segment that she does. I'm going to say a couple times a day because I see you come up sometimes multiple times a day. And if you're not a follower of Dr. Kelly on Facebook, please join her, like her page, follow her along. Great person. That's Dr. Holly Kelly for all of those of you out there who don't know her yet, but you will after you check our social media site and our website. You're going to see her face. We're going to put on some of the links to where she's at, so you'll be able to follow her and support her ministry.
Thank you very much.
So now we're talking about Mother's Day, and I'm going to be doing a segment here, for the next several weeks in tributes to mothers. And we're talking about Art of Living is always an inspirational piece about how do we stay motivated. So you being a mother.
Yes, I am.
Having had a mother. I
had.
How do you take your relationship with your mother, form it into where you are in your relationship and how you deal through motherhood, how you apply that, and then how do you stay motivated through all of the things that you do?
I absolutely love the question. And so let me say this. I had a phenomenal mother.
Good.
She passed away almost 19 years ago, as I was about 2.5 months from delivering what would have been her second grandchild for me. Wow. And so I miss her tremendously, but this is what I say about my mother, and it has transferred to me. My mother was full of love. Let me give you an example of what I mean. I specifically recall this. I was 12 years old, and we grew up in a military family. I was military from birth. Sure. My father was Army. And at this time, we were living in Georgia, and the two of us were the only ones in the house. And we were in the kitchen. And out of the blue, I said, "Mommy, I don't ever want to be a mother, ever." And she said, "Oh, my goodness, Holly Dolly, why would you say that?" And all I could articulate at that point in my life was, you have to love too much.
Yes.
And I've always remembered that because that was my 12-year-old version of saying, you have given everything.
Yeah.
She gave and she loved. I never, ever once questioned her love for any of us and the fact that there was nothing that I could not do. Because she told me that.
Yeah.
She always told me that. And so this many years later, I have to attribute all of my mothering skills, my ability to love my girls with a fierceness to my mother. I saw that. Yeah. She didn't have to sit me down and say, okay, and this is how you do this. She lived it. I saw it. She walked in it. Yeah. So I could never, ever thank her enough for that. And can I just say one other thing?
Sure.
When my mother passed away, God, in all of his graciousness, allowed my relationship with my mother-in-law to go to a deeper, stronger level. Yeah. So I have my mother-in-law who has never called me her daughter-in-law. Sure. Never. Sure. I've always been her daughter. And so another just phenomenal example of love.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I've just been surrounded by women, mothers who walked it out.
Yes.
And they showed me, I lived it with them.
Sure. And it's funny you say that because my mother-in-law did something similar because my mom passed away, I do believe, 2 to 7 years before her. Mm-hmm. And the gap is only there because, you go through grief. Sometimes the dates and stuff get jumbled and missed. But my mother-in-law used to always send a card to me from my mother, signed as she was signing it from my mother to me on my birthday and at Christmas. And it was never a shared gift between my late wife and her or myself. It was always from mom to me. And she made sure that she sent a card from her specifically, and then one from my mom.
See, that kind of stuff, you can't buy that.
No.
You can't even teach someone. That was just innately in her to do that as a mother, to make sure my baby knew he was always loved. I thank you for sharing that with me.
It's an awesome thing. Now, staying motivated as a parent. I see you're online. You've got your PhD. Your husband is military, correct?
Yes, we're both retired Marines. How
do you stay motivated? And I get it that the Marine Corps training would have also taught you certain disciplines and how to stay and yes sir, no sir, and standing straight and being disciplined and you make the bed tight. I get that part. But how do you keep doing that even after your time to salute is done?
Okay, I hope my answer doesn't throw you off. However, I believe down to the DNA cellular level of who I am, I mean, I really believe that thing, that motivation will only start you.
Sure.
It is for me a commitment. And so that does flow very naturally into my motherhood because I am committed to these girls. So the motivation, can run out depending on the timeline and how long I'm expected to stay happy about something, or depending on how you answer me. If your response was not what I expected, okay, that motivation is about to wane. But my commitment to you, my commitment to mother you, my commitment to bring out the best in you, all that God has planted in you, I have a responsibility to grow that, to expand upon that. So it's, for me, the commitment. And in part, it's like a paying it forward. Because my mother loved me so tremendously.
Got it.
Her level of expectation and her pride in me was so great. I can't help. I knew what that did for me. So absolutely, I want to give it back to my girls.
Now, do you also share that same level of fierce love with anyone outside of your home, people that you're mentoring, right? We're all supposed to have those that we are mentored by, that are greater than ourselves in terms of motivation and keeping us focused. And then those that are growing to our level. Do you share that same passion at that level?
I do. And the only way I can say with absolute certainty that I do is because I've had too many people come back and say, you're sort of like a second mom to me. And my mom would have said that to me. And I think it's because I care about people. I love people. I value people. And so I do. I want to see the best in them. I happen to believe that if God has allowed me to be in your presence, to work with you, for us to spend an extended amount of time together, then I go back to that. I owe it to grow and develop you. I'm a people developer.
Got it. So when you look back over your life, what's the one thing that you can always say, yes, I am Dr. Kelly, motivated by?
The need to impact lives.
Got it. So that's your art of living. It's all about impacting lives.
I happen to agree with that. It is.
Good.
That makes life worth living. To make a difference in someone else's life, there's nothing greater, deeper, wider, stronger than making an impact in a life.
Sure. And that's it. And you've been listening to The Art of Living on the Raising Men Show, and I'm your host, Craig Carlisle, and I've had a great guest. And would you come back again and for a more extended time with us on the Raising Men Show, Dr. Kelly?
Absolutely, and thank you.
Outstanding.
You're listening to Raising Men with my dad and your host, Craig Carlisle, on WKBY 1080 AM.
So welcome to the Raising Men Show, and I'm your host, Craig Carlisle, and here we are in studio. We are actually on Centerpoint Church's campus. We've been blessed to do so many interviews today just on this campus right now, and I've got in studio with me an awesome woman of God, Christina Andres. How are you today?
I'm fabulous. Thank you for having me.
Fabulous. Just fabulous.
I'm so good.
So we're talking about Mother's Day, motherhood, the art of living, and, just really framing how your relationship with your mother has really shaped how you are as a mother and staying motivated behind that. Tell me about that. How does that work? How did your relationship with your mom shape who you are and how you are?
Yeah, that's such an interesting question for my family dynamic, because my mom loves well. So well.
Wow.
Very, very powerful, nurturing heart, leads with her heart. She just bleeds and oozes out affection and love and tenderness. Sure. And I'm actually very strong-willed, very independent.
No.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
Super, super independent.
Yeah.
So much so that when I was 5 years old, I really wanted to take a dance class lesson.
Wow.
And my mom graciously allowed me to took me. And by the third or fourth lesson, I was telling the teacher she was teaching the class incorrectly.
Wow.
To which my mom had to take me aside and say, hey, babe, if you aren't going to participate in the class, we're going to have to quit. In which my response was, then I quit, because she obviously doesn't know what she's doing.
Wow.
Yeah. So we were a very interesting relational dynamic for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how did you shift that oozing and dynamic into life now? Because, when you teach our class, and those who don't know, she teaches the prophetic class here at Centerpoint Church. And if you haven't taken it, you ought to take it, because it is awesome. Between that and Freedom Prayer with Ann Hansen, and just even the Freedom Prayer sessions. I'm sorry, this is not a part of the art of living, but it is, right? Because it has everything to do with prayer and what the Holy Spirit says in your life. I'm sorry, that was just a shameless plug for that. But I tell you, that experience is just life changing. Mm-hmm. So how did you get from the leader of the dance class to prophetic ministry? That's such 180-degree out.
It's so true. I had to learn love.
Yeah.
It was modeled perfectly for me.
Wow.
It was a familiar ambiance to be in, but I fought it because I thought that my way of doing things was better.
Wow.
So in my 20s, I was actually full of pride and self-righteousness and independence. And I just think it went kind of unharnessed. My mom didn't really know what to do with me.
Sure.
She read Dr. Dobson's, like Raising a Strong-Willed Kid, but she probably could write her own version, which would be a bestseller for sure with the information that I presented her with. Sure. But it came through my own actually breaking, where I realized the value of love. Wow. And I realized my worth, and it changed the course of my life to where now I'm still just as independent, just as gritty, but I'm harnessed with love and a passion for Jesus and for his love to be released on the earth. So I think always being able to have my mom's influence be kind of a tipping point for always knowing that was available was huge for me, and my turning point to come back and saying, like, okay, there's a better way for me to live, and it includes being under the law of love.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for you, it's easy to say that there is an art to living.
Absolutely.
And it has everything to do with being under the art of love, or the harnessed of love, and be harnessed by love.
And that was hard for me to come to, because I was obviously like wanting to do things my way. So I felt like being under the law of rules didn't work. I always questioned rules. I wanted to know why things were the way they were, who was being convenienced or inconvenienced by this rule, why it really was there. And I was never motivated by a rule, never motivated by it because I told you so. I had to understand why. Because my brain thought towards transformation and change too. I thought, well, there could probably be a better way. When I realized I could be motivated and come under the influence of love instead of a rule, that was a flip that switched and changed everything. Now,
do you find that any one of your children are like you, that you can
All
easily...
three.
Really?
Yes.
So you have a relationship that's easily connected with them?
Yes, yeah. All three of them are very strong-willed, very independent, very forward-thinking, but they have a high value for love.
Wow. Yeah. So do you think that your past and then your connectedness with them, do you think it has hurt or hindered, helped or hurt your relationship? Do you sometimes find yourself taking that for granted?
I think it's helped because I don't fear sin.
That's awesome.
A lot of parents are scared of the choices that their kids are going to make. And rightfully so. We never want our kids to hit rock bottom. We fear the retaliation that'll come, the shame that'll come, just the messes that come with sin. Because I was the mess maker in my story, and I was able to experience the beauty and the redemption of Jesus. I'm not scared of my kids making messes.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I give them a lot of choices, a lot of opportunities to learn, let life, be their teacher. It's in a nurtured environment, of course. first, because I feel like that's really important too. But I would rather them mess up, especially when they're under my roof and they know that like love is there to catch them when they fall, than always fear what's going to happen if they actually did make the choices for themselves.
Well, I think it's awesome because you run the prophetic class the same way, because you allow us to be able to make mistakes and to know that it's okay to go back and clean that mess up and to experiment and to try. And you never know about God and how he speaks to you and doesn't speak to you and how you should do until you try.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's pretty awesome. But you got to let me hide behind that gear back there. Let me be back there.
You have too much to offer.
No, I'm good. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Now, if you had to look back and you give yourself a word related to the art of living and being harnessed by love, what would you tell yourself in advance to let yourself look, this is what you need to do?
So younger Christina.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Or even an easier one than that. A word for the older Christina. So when it gets to a point where Christina needs to hear this word, what would you want to release as a word into Christina's life? Okay. The older Christina, whether it be tomorrow's Christina or tomorrow's Christina.
Such a good question. I would say be fully present and in love with the one you're with.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's a part of that's also a part of the art of living.
Yeah.
Is to be one with the one you're with.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Fully present.
Fully present with the one you're with. When you've been listening to the RZNGMEN show, I'm your host, Craig Carlisle, and this is another segment we love called The Art of Living.
So good.
Christina Andres has been here with us. You got to come back and spend some more time?
Please. I would really enjoy that.
That'd be awesome.
You're listening to RZNGMEN with my dad and your host, Craig Carlisle, on WKBY 1080 AM.
And welcome, everyone, to the RZNGMEN show. And I'm your host, Craig Carlisle, and I've got a wonderful lady in studio, Shirley Jones. How are you doing, Shirley?
I'm doing great today, Craig. And every day I'm doing really great.
Well, it's outstanding that you got here. We're not in our normal studio spot. We're actually on Centerpoint's Church in Marietta's campus in their studio. And it's pretty awesome. Normally I do this at my home studio, but today I get a chance to be on location with you.
I love it. Well, I feel honored.
Well, that's cool.
Honored and privileged to be here. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, you're welcome. We're talking about the art of living.
Yes.
And so with our Mother's Day being our focus, so how has your relationship with your mother really shaped your version of motherhood? And then how do you stay motivated?
Well, I have a very unique story. I have been blessed with more than one mother.
Wow. How'd you pull that off?
Well, God had this plan from before the beginning of time.
Sure.
And he decided that I would have a natural mother, and who is my birth mother, and I would also have my mother, my grandmother, who would raise me.
Wow.
And they both are very unique people. They're both gone on to be with the Lord now.
Gotcha.
And the one unique thing I realize about both of them is their love.
Wow.
And if you were to ask me, what is it that makes you the way that you are, to give what you give and not deplete, I would say it's their love. It was their love that they imparted to me.
Wow. So as you have taken that love philosophy and made it your own,
yes,
how do you see that being shaped and rolled out to your own kids?
Oh, well, to my kids, there's a lot of sacrifice.
Oh, man,
There's a lot of making time, quality time.
Sure.
It's not about what you can buy, purchase, but truly the quality time.
Sure.
When we did not have a lot and we were young parents and they were little, it was a lot of quality time. When they became older and we were more able to take vacations and do the what you would call luxurious things, it was still quality time. And when I watched them as they're raising their sons and daughters, I realized that is the one takeaway that they instill in their own family relations. Time to talk, time off the TV, off of the internet, the smart devices, time to read. They're giving books as a treat.
What?
Books.
Wow. Now, is that electronic books got a battery in it? And nothing?
That's an actual paper, old, antiquated,
really? No paper cuts and
lost
stuff?
time, long time ago book.
And you can still find those?
Page by page. You can actually turn them.
Wow.
You can actually turn them.
No, I'm just kidding, because I'm writing one myself, so I'm excited about that.
Absolutely. But it's such a blessing as a mother in this high-tech environment to see your children instill the same values in their families.
Wow.
If they're eating and I call, they'll answer the phone with, Mom, we're having dinner, or Mom, it's bath time, or Mom, it's reading time. And that, in this fast-paced environment, it really says a lot about what was instilled in them and what they took away and implanted into their own lives.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So with all the things that you do, because we were talking before we started recording and we got on air, and you've got a very great title.
Yes.
Different things that you do, different places that you go.
Yes.
How do you incorporate all of the things that you do? Remain a mother, continue to instill those values, and not become depleted. How do you stay motivated? What's your art of living?
Well, my art of living, I thought about it before I came on. I was thinking about it last night. And as I sat down to do my homework, I came across a great quote from St. Augustine from his book, The Confessions. And I wrote it down. It says, "You have made us for yourself, and our heart is restless until it rests in you."
Wow.
And I took from that, I'm working with a group now that's writing a book. We're all writing a book together. And it's on prayer and devotion and worship. So I wrote the first overlay of the book in the thought. And it is, "I declare and I decree my love grows and has no lack." I would say the greatest element, the essence of life, is all grounded in love. And because I keep my love growing, and then I had to look at, as I was praying, I had to look at where is my love being depleted? Because once your love depletes, it begins to leak. Or your reservoir runs dry because you haven't either artificially placed more in, or you haven't naturally placed more in by serving. You mentioned the titles. You have titles, you have positions. Yes, I'm postured in this realm called the earth to serve, minister, to serve. And in that serving, I find love is the greatest fuel that keeps me moving. If I didn't have the zeal and the love and the passion for what I do, I would not do it.
So for you then, there's an art to living, and it has everything to do with
love. Everything. And it's not the love that is self-seeking. No. Of course, we go right to the scripture. It is the love that makes no noise about itself. It's always concerned about others, and that takes practice.
But that's what I known about you. From the first time I was introduced to you through Joanne Hoy, that's all I knew, and you exude that is you, and consistency and love and concern for people and for what they do. Because I was able to go and watch you minister with your group, and you were more concerned with what they were doing and how they ministered and were they okay. And I watched, even doing the sound check that night, you only took the stage when it was time to minister as a group. You're like, let me be mindful of the time. I'm okay. Long as they're comfortable, then I can fit in. I'll get in where I need to get in.
Consideration.
And that is huge because most people, they think it's all about them.
Correct.
And that's never been your MO that I've ever seen.
Well, I am human. I am human.
I thought you had a battery.
I feel like the Energizer Bunny.
Oh,
but
there you go.
The truth is, I am human, and I do have my times where I feel depleted. And I found hugging my grandbabies. Showing up at their door. And my kids saying, "Why are you here? Did you call? Why? I mean, weren't you in another city? How did you get here?" And I just felt like a hug. Did something go wrong? What's wrong, Mom? Nothing's wrong. They're so accustomed to me being supercharged, going here, going there, meeting
Sure.
everyone's needs. And I just said, I really just need a hug. And the little ones always say, hey, Grandma, I just needed a hug.
Yeah.
So I think I found in that moment, in all of the bustling about and serving and giving out, you have to allow others to love you back.
Yeah.
And that's the one unique memory I have of my mother who raised me.
Wow.
Is that she loved me back.
Wow.
And that when I came to the full knowledge of Jesus Christ and gave my life to him, my heart to him, when I began to know the love of God and to know the love of Christ.
Sure.
And the only resemblance I could remember was my grandmother,
Wow.
Ida. That's all I could remember.
Wow.
And of course, my birth mother, it was likewise because she missed so many years, but she loved me as though there was never any separation.
Wow.
And we had our times, because I had a lot to deal and contend with emotionally, psychologically, in my heart. But in all of that, the Lord's love was that binding cord, that cord that bound us together. Sure. And it's just, I have very pleasant memories. This is, matter of fact, the very first time in the 8 years since my natural mother and father passed away that I'll be going back home this weekend to be with my sisters and my other siblings.
That's awesome.
And this is really a phenomenal, life-changing event.
So where does it take you? And as you're preparing for that trip, where is your mind going?
Whew, my mind has been racing. It's absolutely been racing. And I've been telling myself time and time again, receive, receive, receive.
Yeah.
Just open wide and just let the love come in. Sometimes we try to stabilize it or confine it. Okay, that's enough, not too much. But the Lord said just open wide and just let his love pour down on you. And allow whatever happens to happen.
Yes.
And I don't know all of what's going to happen, but I know it will shake foundations. It will touch hearts that have been broken. Their cousins and nieces and nephews. And I'm the matriarch now in my youth. I'm the matriarch
there you go.
On my father's side and somewhat the matriarch also on my mother's side. And that's a tremendous responsibility to now be the burden lifter and the one who makes bridges and draws everyone back together. I feel I've been out of place, and I'm now back in place.
But the blessing that you have is that you are who you are.
Yes.
So you don't need to do any special prep for that, other than maybe some fasting and extra prayer for that focus point.
And practicing some songs.
Well,
you know I love to sing.
Yeah. In fact, next time you come on, would you sing for us? Well, you got to come back because I've got to find out how the trip went.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
So you can reflect on that. So the goal is you get a chance to listen and hear the show and hear your thoughts prior. And then when you come back, the connection is to go, how did it go? Talk to us. Because there's an art of living, right?
Yes.
And it has everything to do with
love.
You're listening to Raising Men with my dad and your host, Craig Carlisle, on WKBY 1080 AM.